Special Counsel John Durham testifying, meanwhile, this afternoon on the Hill, a month after he released his blistering review of how the FBI and DOJ never should have launched the Trump-Russia investigation to begin with. And now, the Hunter Biden plea deal. It's raising more questions about bias in the justice system. Let's bring in our political panel, Kevin Walling, former Biden campaign surrogate, and Garrett Ventry, former senior communications advisor to Senator Chuck Grassley and former senior advisor to Senate Judiciary Committee. Garrett, to you first on this. What questions does this raise for you?
I mean, it certainly looks like there's no coincidence in the politics here. We've seen this with last week with the indictment of President Trump. And, you know, it also coming out earlier that morning that Joe Biden was allegedly involved in a bribery scheme. The Durham situation is very concerning to the American people, and it should be concerning to both political parties here. It found that the FBI and DOJ not only didn't live up to their mission, didn't handle things with integrity, but the entire basis of going after Donald Trump was based on a dossier that was paid for by the DNC and funded and orchestrated by Hillary Clinton's campaign against her leading political opponent. We're seeing the same thing play out now with the Presidential Records Act and the indictment from Joe Biden's DOJ's handpicked special counsel against Donald Trump. And we're also seeing now with these charges related to Hunter Biden, a lot of questions here. He's trying to put his leading political opponent in jail for up to 400 years for something that Judge Berman, an Obama-appointed judge, said Donald Trump had every right to do under the Presidential Records Act in terms of the Clinton sock drawer case in 2010. When Bill Clinton had tapes that essentially showed he discussed military strategy and national security. There's no difference here other than it happens to be Donald Trump. And so I think it's the latest targeting here. You're seeing Hunter Biden get a sweetheart deal from his dad's DOJ. And we're talking about here things Democrats care about: illegal possession of a firearm, while he's abusing substances, which is very sad, obviously, and then obviously tax fraud. Someone who is making millions of dollars and not paying taxes. And he's going to get probably slapped here with no jail time. So it does raise real questions about the bias at the DOJ and FBI towards Donald Trump. And anybody it looks like here, there's two standards of justice here. If your name is Clinton or Biden, you get one standard, and everybody else gets a different standard, which is really not good in this country. The last thing I'll say this, and my friend Donald Trump Jr. said this over and over again, if he did 1% of what Hunter Biden did, he'd be in Gitmo because his last name is Trump here. And we're seeing this continued over and over again bias and politicization from the FBI and DOJ.
Kevin, I think that's a fair question for many Americans in this moment. Is Hunter Biden getting the same treatment as anybody else facing these charges?
Yes, Sandra, it's an important question. And listen, I've said from the get-go, with President Trump, with Hunter Biden, no one is above the law as an American, but no one should be targeted because of who they are with the law. And I think when you look at these charges, and it's important to point out, this investigation has gone on for 5 years. One of the ways that I think the Biden administration is trying to increase faith in the Department of Justice is leaving that Trump-appointed attorney, U.S. attorney for Delaware, in position so that they can continue on with this investigation. And all of the implications of this case have been through that U.S. attorney appointed by Donald Trump. This plea arrangement is with that Trump-appointed attorney. So there is no bias. This is not Joe Biden's Department of Justice. The Attorney General is not Joe Biden's attorney or personal attorney. What we are trying to do as Democrats in this administration especially is to restore hope and faith in the Department of Justice through this process. These are very different cases with regards to what Donald Trump has been charged with and what Hunter Biden has accepted responsibility for.
Okay, let me get Garrett's response to that
to.
And also put up on the screen the FBI statement. This is ahead of the Durham testimony tomorrow. The conduct in the 16 and 17, in 2016 and 2017 that Special Counsel Durham examined was the reason the current FBI leadership already implemented dozens of corrective actions, which have now been in place for some time. Had those reforms been in place in 2016, the missteps identified in this report could have been prevented. This report reinforces the importance of ensuring the FBI continues to do its work with rigor, objectivity, and professionalism the American people deserve and rightly expect. Moving on to Hunter Biden reaching this plea deal in the tax and gun case to which you just referenced, Garrett, and these charges that have been filed, the White House response is that the president loves his son. Many are saying that this is just a slap on the wrist. Here's Kevin McCarthy on how he believes this plea actually will help the GOP investigation. Listen.
Now, this does nothing to our investigation. It actually should enhance our investigations because the DOJ should not be able to withhold any information now, saying that because of pending investigation, they should be able to provide Chairman Comer with any information that he requires.
Garrett, you take that one up. Does it help?
Yeah, I mean, the speakers, I mean, right here for sure. I mean, the last line defense here, you can't expect, again, I know that this is a Trump-appointed U.S. attorney they kept on, but he reports to Merrick Garland and Joe Biden's Justice Department. This is Joe Biden's Justice Department. He appointed the Attorney General. It's his hand-picked Attorney General. He may not be his personal attorney, but we're seeing a double standard here with documents. We're seeing a double standard here with Hunter Biden. We have here charges that usually would be a felony, illegal possession of a firearm, tax fraud of over $100,000. Those are things that landed Donald Trump's, the Trump Organization's CFO in Rikers Island for 5 months, okay? So there clearly is a double standard here going on. And I think a lot of people are seeing this, from whether it is the Obama DOJ passing on Hillary Clinton having classified information, whether it's the special counsel here that Merrick Garland is appointed to investigate Joe Biden's handling of documents when he was a senator and vice president, which he had no right to have. No legal authority to declassify or store those documents.
Right.
So there is clear double standard here.
Kevin, real quick final thought from you as the GOP is vowing to move forward with these probes despite this sweetheart deal, they're calling it. Real quick final thought.
Yes, Sandra, of course they do, because that's all part of their rhetoric and all part of their game. Listen, this investigation happened for 2 years under the Trump administration. No charges were brought during that. It finished after 3 years.
That's a good point. Didn't they know everything they know today? Miranda Devine just made that point. Didn't they know everything they know today? Know it then?
I'm just saying they had 2 years under Bill Barr and Donald Trump and that Justice Department to bring charges as part of this investigation. That investigation continued. There is no bias. Hunter Biden is not being treated any differently than anyone facing these crimes that he is pleading guilty to and owning up to.
All right, interesting debate. Appreciate both of you joining us for our political panel today. Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks,
Thank
Sandra.
you, Garrett. All right, John.
Thanks, Sandra.